It's Pyram King. I'm really excited to bring to you another location in Legends of Saltmarsh. This is Eliander Fireborn's manor on the edge of that cliff here in the village of Saltmarsh. We're going to be looking at some gorgeous battle maps by DM Andy. We got a new NPC, some interesting backstory, and an open-ended quest. I really like this one a lot. It's the first time in Legends of Saltmarsh we're going to be introducing 3-player handouts. Now, we're going to be looking at this in Foundry VTT, but everything you see here is available free in Legend Keeper. I'll put a link in the description down below, including the free PDF player handouts. All of that stuff is free for the community. But if you'd like to donate, become a member of this project, you'll get access to all the Foundry content, including what you see here as a special thank you gift. I take all the stuff, the free stuff, and I put it into Foundry, the lighting, the sounds, the maps, the walls, the tokens, everything, to save you time as a special thank you for you supporting me in this project. So here we are at his house. We're going to take a look at this first here. We got a little bit of sound here. Let's see if we can listen to that here. I'll turn it up a little bit for you. There we go. See if you can hear that. Here we are at the ocean here. I'll turn that down for a little bit. Where is this located? Let's take a look at the map here. This is the map made by DM Andy, and you can see here's the center of town. If we go all the way out here to the outside of town, you can see here, there's his house. We're going to click on it. There's some read aloud text here. We got 3 Theater of the Mind maps for you. I'm going to show you, and that quest, The Lost Tomb. And there's some read aloud text. But let's talk about the background at this location first. And we'll just bring up the house again. Now, when Eliander Fireborn became captain of the guard here, kind of towards his retirement, in charge of the militia or the garrison here in Saltmarsh. He comes from a noble family. He has quite a bit of money, so he bought this old manor and refurbished it, probably planning this to be his retirement home as well. It's on the edge of the cliff overlooking the ocean. Now, his household staff consists of 1 full-time employee, Benedict. It's his valet and housekeeper. We'll be talking about that in more detail. He's a new NPC. Really cool backstory here. The cleaning staff, the cooking staff, and special event staff only come when necessary. Eliander values his privacy, and so his house is pretty quiet except for Benedict there, unless he invites somebody to the house as a guest. And that's pretty rare. That would be dignitaries coming from C10 or Gradsol or the Kingdom of Kelon coming to visit. But for the most part, he values his privacy. Now, Eliander's very famous in some circles because he has the largest private library pretty much in all of Kelon, and he's well known for this private library. It runs in his family, and so he has a beautiful library here, and that's involving the open-ended quest we're going to be talking about. And we got a Theater of the Mind map as well. But before we jump too much into the map and then to the quest, let's talk about Benedict, the new NPC here. Here we have a picture of him. I'm going to let you see that while I tell you a little bit about who this guy is. Now, Benedict serves as his personal valet, head of the household, runs the house, runs the day-to-day operation to the highest standards. Now, Benedict's background is pretty interesting. He's in his late 60s. He once served the Royal Guard in the capital, Noldra, in the Kingdom of Kelon, and the general staff, he reached the highest rank he could for a lowborn. He's not from a noble family. I guess the way the best analogy would be in the military, you have enlisted and officers, and for instance, in the Navy, the highest enlistment you could be is Master Chief. And that's technically what Benedict became. He became the highest rank he could as a lowborn or enlisted. Now, his father had served Eliander Fireborn's father as well, and he's known Eliander Fireborn as a senior officer. So when Benedict retired and Eliander Fireborn took the job as captain of the guard here in Saltmarsh, he asked for Benedict to serve transition in his private life to serve him in his role as a valet and the head of the household. That is not only a tradition, but it's a great honor to be asked to do that because there's a lot of trust to run a household and be a personal valet, especially for a noble family, especially somebody of Captain Fireborn status. So he he took up this job, and he runs it with a military precision and efficiency that you would expect. Now, he's also an excellent archer and a bow hunter when he has the free time to do that. His personality, I have it marked down here. He's disciplined, he's loyal, he's very protective of Fireborn and his personal time and his private time. He's very serious. He's not into to gossip or joking around. He's very calculated. He prefers probably more wit and puzzles and puns than he is outright jokes. He's a strategic thinker. He's a loyalist, a staunch loyalist. So he has a distrust for the traditionalists. Remember, that's the two big factions in town. Now, there's an interesting rivalry here, and that is with Scaran Wavechaser. So in Saltmarsh, Scaran Wavechaser is the valet or butler for Anders. So there's another wealthy family, Anders Solmar, and Scaran is his valet and butler. So there's a interesting dynamic and relationship that Benedict and Scaran have. They're similar status, both heads of the household, both personal valets, and so they meet once a week, either here at Eliander's manor or he goes to Anders' manor, and they have tea and play chess. And it's more than just meeting once a week. There's a little bit of political maneuvering and manipulation going on with each other. It's a friendly rivalry. And Benedict thinks he has the upper hand. He is trying to extract information from Scaran about his master, Anders. Now, Anders sits on the town council, so does Captain Fireborn. Anders is a traditionalist, but he kind of leans centralist. And so what Benedict is doing here is he's trying to manipulate Scaran Wavechaser to influence his master to kind of lean towards the loyalist side. And he's trying to extract some information from Scaran. And whatever information he gets, he shares with his master, Eliander Fireborn. Now, Benedict has no idea that Scaran is a secret member of the Scarlet Brotherhood, and that Scaran is actually playing Benedict as well. He's giving Benedict some information, playing a little chess and drinking some tea. And so they're kind of manipulating each other. Sometimes Scaran has the upper hand, sometimes Benedict has the upper hand. And Scaran's just trying to weave deceit and chaos, obviously. He wants to maneuver his guy Anders into the power structure of the town council, and so he's going to do whatever he can to do that. But it's important to note that Benedict and nobody knows that Scaran is a secret member of the Scarlet Brotherhood. So this creates a really interesting dynamic between these two households, these two heads of the households, these two valets. It allows you as the game master to share kind of secrets and weave a little bit of chaos with Scaran and everything, and the players can pit the factions against each other. So this is a little bit of background about him. I think it's a pretty interesting dynamic. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the ground floor here, and we're going to go through this gorgeous map by DM Andy here, and I have that map key here. And so you can see we got the cliff over here with the waves, and here's the ground floor, and there's a map key here. We've got the private office, sitting room, grand hall, library, kitchen, and dining room. Now the grand hall is pretty impressive here. He's got a ship, a big ship model here, and then he's got this eagle here, and there's a description on the base that reads for valor and loyalty. And this was given to his grandfather, Lord Fireborn, for Defender of the Realm. It's been in the family forever by the King of Keelan. So there's a lot of family mementos that span generations of the Fireborn household. The sitting room is down here, and when anybody comes to visit, Benedict's going to put them in the sitting room, right? It serves as an area for guests to wait, unofficial or super unimportant visits. It's a nice room, but it's kind of like, I'm going to just put you aside and you can wait to see the master later. So if it was an informal meeting, you probably would have it in the sitting room. Now, the private office up here is where Eliander spends his time when he's not doing his captain's work for the garrison and the town guard. And he does have a little area up here, the little breakfast kind of nook where he takes tea in the afternoon with Craddock. So the only person that he regularly sees here in his private office is Craddock, which, as you know, Craddock is the master at arms. He's the jailer and maintains the barracks. So Craddock comes by and probably gives him an update of what's going on with the town guard. So it could be possible that the players are meeting Fireborn and Craddock here at the same time. Fireborn would probably have some private meetings of the loyalist faction in here too. So this is his kind of private domain here, his private office. We've got a Theater of the Mind map for that. Let's just take a look. I'll go ahead and activate it. So you can bring your tokens into here, and if you're going to have a meeting with Eliander Fireborn at his manor, it would be probably in this room. So you've got this, so you can drag your tokens in here and do a role-playing scene here in his private office. Now the next room we have is the library, and that's here at the top. It's 2 stories. By the way, the red arrows and the up arrows and down arrows are teleportation. So if the token goes there, it teleports them up the stairway to the next floor. As you know, as I mentioned before, his library is pretty well known, and I have some notes here. There's a lot of books, a lot of first editions. The total collection's worth thousands of gold pieces. Its value is probably without measure because there's some documents and scrolls and tombs here that probably are priceless. He has some rare scrolls. Scrolls are going to be a little bit more unique because they're one-off scrolls, and it'd probably be stuff like naval battles or stuff like that. So this library is pretty intense. I put a list of some rare books titles in here if you want to just share that with the players. For instance, the Naval Engagement of Azure's Tide, Expeditions into the Dread Wood, Traversing the Hool Marshes, the Tours and Jotuns, the Chronicles of the Giant Kin Wars. Remember, the giants historically have been fighting in the Jotun and the Tor Mountains. So I tried to weave some titles in there that bring the Sheldamar Valley in this area together. So there's some titles here if you want to share it with your players. Next up, we have the dining room here. Dining room is always formally set. And interesting enough, Eliander never really eats in here unless he has special invited guests. So this room is for a formal occasion. So if there's any formal occasion in which he has dignitaries coming in from Seaton or Gradsol or the Kingdom of Keelan, and he wants to have a formal dining room that overlooks the ocean, he would have it in here. There's a beautiful picture painted on the wall of a sea battle of the sinking of the Sea Princess, which was the kind of the turning point or the zenith of the Azure's Tide, ending the conflict between the Sea Princess, the pirates, and the Kingdom of Keelan. So there's a painting on the wall there that he has special pride in. The kitchen up here, Benedict, most of the time, prepares the meals for Fireborn himself. So unless there's a lot of guests going to be here, Benedict does everything. Benedict will actually serve the meals here in the kitchen for Fireborn. So if Fireborn's alone in the evening, he'll come here and sit in the kitchen. Benedict will prepare him a meal. He's not going to eat in the big fancy dining room. Captain Fireborn's the kind of guy that knows pomp and circumstance when you need pomp and circumstance. On his own, he's just this kind of captain regular guy. He's going to have a glass of wine or something, a drink and dinner with Benedict serving him and talking about the day there. So that's the ground floor. Let's go up to the second floor here, and we have the second floor of the library up here. Again, it's got a balcony, it looks down. This is a gorgeous map by Eliander. You can actually see how, I like how he does the, it gets out of focus down on the second floor, so you can tell that there's a depth there. And you also have the skylight that's shining light down there. You can see how it's lighting up in there. Then we have Benedict's room in here. Benedict's room's interesting. I put something in there because he's an archer. Over the fireplace hangs a finely made longbow. If you do an Arcana check or an investigation check, it could reveal to the players it's a +1 longbow. It's a handcrafted, beautiful, elegant, probably made by the elves longbow. It's hanging there over the mantle. And so this is his room up here. He's got a desk. He likes to keep notes and everything. And because he's a hunter, you're going to see some furs in here. So he that's his pastime. If he has some free time, he's going to go out for the hunt. We have a guest bedroom here, so if there's any guests that stay, it has a balcony, overlooks the ocean. Then we have the private bath over here in the corner. And it's all done very, very cleanly. This is where Eliander prepares himself, and you probably have Benedict in here preparing his suits and with a little brush and getting him all tidied up for the day. And then you have Eliander's private room here. It has a shared balcony here. You can go into the private bath. And you'd find a few things, mementos in there. You find a accommodation for him in his time in the army. There's a campaign map with troop movements on it, wooden case with some correspondence, private journal probably kept by his bed. And there's a small shrine to St. Cuthbert here. And that ties into our quest. So you've got an idea what the property looks like. The library is a key place. And the private room. By the way, I've got a library Theater of the Mind map here. I just show you here. Here's the private library, and we've got Benedict there in the private library. Now, what I want to tell you about is the quest. So let's go ahead and jump into the quest here, The Lost Tomb. Now, the quest is going to start here. And again, the open-ended quests are made for any level. And I like to tie these open-ended quests. The purpose of them is to make Saltmarsh come alive, right? It introduces new characters, factions, relationships, locations, and you can tie other adventures into it. And that's the whole purpose of it. It's not necessarily to go on an adventure to get a reward. It's showing you the machinations of what's going on in Saltmarsh. So it's for any level you can run this. The adventure hooks here, it's a lost tomb. So there's this rare book called The Wreck of the Marshal. And by the way, what's really important I want to show you here is in Ghosts of Saltmarsh, you have the regular 7 adventures. In the appendix, there's another adventure. Most people don't even know about it because they don't even pay attention, because you just pay attention to the main wrecks and the main story. So on page 218 at the bottom, it's called The Wreck of the Marshal. It goes on for a couple pages. It even has an underwater map. And it's just a small adventure in the back. It's like two pages. And it has some different ways of running it. It has four suggested encounters for the Wreck of the Marshal with the map on it. So what I decided to do is create a story about the wreck, right? There's a little bit of a story, like one paragraph. So this book is about the wreck of the Marshal. It's one of his prize collections, and it's been stolen. And in order to start this adventure hook, either Benedict, if he befriends a player, says, hey, look, someone, it's an inside job. Someone's stolen one of these priceless tombs, the Wreck of the Marshal, if you could locate it. Eliander Fireborn also might elicit the party to go find the book. And I also put in here, Scarin Wave Chaser might be kind of, he's always trying to manipulate the situation. So he might tell the players, hey, something's troubling the old captain and his shadow, Benedict. You might want to find out what's going on, because they seem rather concerned about something. So he might be able to induce the party to find out what's going on. And what's going on is this book, The Wreck of the Marshal, has been stolen. The rewards for this is if you return the book to him, Benedict's going to obviously trust the players. He's going to welcome them in the sitting room. He's also going to get them a custom tailored travel cloaks. And these are semi-waterproof, semi-salt-proof cloaks. They have a hidden pocket on the interior. And then he's going to have some crests, probably the crest of Saltmarsh, or maybe the crest, Eliander's crest put on it. And I suggest maybe a +1 bonus with charisma checks with Saltmarsh officials if you're wearing this with the crest on it. But it's also kind of, it's a weather thing. So if you're facing the harsh elements, you're out at sea, this is a nice travel cloak in here. Now, Eliander's rewards are pretty cool. So first of all, if you return the book to him, he's going to give you a handwritten letter of recommendation. This is an idea that comes from the Dungeon Master's Guide, both the 2014 and the 2024. So instead of treasure, he gives you this letter of recommendation. And I actually have this as the first player handout. And so the letter of recommendation has a seal on it. And when you give it to the party, it allows the party to have maybe exclusive contracts, to be able to hold audiences with powerful people. So if you're trying to meet somebody of power or a noble family and they don't know who you are, it's like, oh, we don't want to. And you just present this letter of recommendation so it can open doors. It might even allow the party to get some contracts or special audiences that they normally wouldn't. You could have it grant advantage on persuasion or charisma checks when you're dealing with regional authorities, especially loyalists. So if they have this and they're trying to use a persuasion or charisma check, you could give them advantage for having this letter. The second thing he'll give them is he has a rare map of the Javan Bay. And that's right here. And you can see this. I'm going to make this bigger so you can take a look. So this is a player handout map that he will give to the players. There's nothing on this map the players can't see. There's no secret locations in here. These are all known locations. This is an old map from the War of Azure's Tide. So it shows you Saltmarsh on here, Abbey Island, Angler Island, Red Shore Island, the Raven Rocks. That's where the wreck is. We're going to be talking about that. There's Bale Keep, the names of some rivers, but there's no secret location. So you can give this to the players. It's not going to reveal anything. And in fact, it might help the players kind of navigate adventures where they want to go outside of Saltmarsh. Even if you're going to be running U1, Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh, the Danger at Dunwater, and the Final Enemy, they're all located somewhere on this map. So this will help the players navigate different things for them. So it's a great player handout is the map. And then last but not least, he'll grant them private access to the library. So if there's some research they want to do, this is a great place where the players can get some information, historical information, information about the pirates, information maybe about the Hool Marsh or the Dreadwoods, because it's a huge, vast library. So whatever you want to think of, it's probably located in this library, so the players want to do some research. You might want to give the players advantage on Arcana, history or religion checks while researching in the library. So those are the rewards. So let's talk about this book. The Wreck of the Marshal is a rare chronicle about this ship called the Marshal. And the ship left about 100 years ago from Gradsol. And this was commissioned by a bunch of followers of St. Cuthbert, a religious organization, to bring law and order to distant shores. And as they were sailing, they ran into pirates, and they tried to make for Seaton, and they got caught like in a storm, and the ship sunk. It's a very rare book, and I have it here for the players. So if they find it, you can give them this book. And what's really cool about this book is it's told by the ship's cook. So in 447, over 100 years ago, it says the ship left, and they were sailing down into the Javan Bay. And the captain says here, veered north. He thought he saw pirates, so he veered north, threading the passage between Angler Island and Red Shore Island. So if we look at the map, let's take a look at the map. So he veered north between these two islands. Here's Angler Island and Red Shore. So he threaded the passage between the two, trying to make the way for Seaton. That's what it says in the book. If we go to the second page, it says that the fierce gusts from the east drove them westward. So east to westward. So they were sailing here and drove them westward here. And then it talks about these rocks, jagged rocks, black rocks rose from the sea. You can see a picture here of these rocks. And then the boat smashed against the rocks, shattered the hull, and it sunk. And he was thrown overboard. He's the only survivor here. And there he is. He's the survivor. He woke in delirium, holding onto a broken spar. The sea started to calm, and then a fishing boat from Saltmarsh found him. And he was the only survivor in here. I conclude it. It's only 3 pages. You can see it's pretty short. I conclude this when he's in old age. He hears this story about the Vecna's followers. The Vecna empire collapsed about 1,000 years ago, and he hears about these followers who were kind of against this religious order, the saints' religious order. And they kind of maybe disappeared. I put in here, some say the followers fled off into the Hool Marsh or into the deepest ruins of the Dreadwood. I wanted this book to also allow you as the game master to introduce the Dreadwood, if you want to introduce this cult of Vecna in the Dreadwood, or if you want to introduce them in the Hool Marsh. I'm going to be putting a cult operation in the Hool Marsh later on. I already have some thoughts about that. So this book also leads to that. in here. So he mentions that here at the end of the book is this cult. Now, what's interesting is he says that they move among us cloaked and wandering monks, infiltrating holy missions and working secret to unmake the faith of Saint Cuthbert. So there's something about some secret monks that are still following Vecna. It's mentioned in here. So there's a bunch of clues in it. Obviously, there's clues where the boat sunk. We just talked about it. It went north and got blown westward into these Raven Rocks, and we saw the pictures of rocks. So that's where the ship is sunk, in Raven Rocks. And so you have all that stuff here. Let me just close this down. And I tell you what the clues are in here. So the players are going to have to read this and decipher it, looking at the Javan map, and they see this, and it's, oh yeah, it's probably sunk on the Raven Rocks. Now, I created 4 suspects. All 4 of these suspects have motives to steal the books, and we're going to talk about that, but you have to only pick one. So we have Prime Water, and Prime Water has been using his smuggling operation to run through or near the Raven Rocks. He has charted that area, and he knows ships and the patrol boats and the Kingdom of Keelan pirates, they avoid it, and so he uses that area to run his smuggling operations. Recently, one of his smuggling ships was attacked by a Marrow. And Prime Water is suspicious because legends say that Marrows guard shipwrecks. So he believes there might be a wreck there, and he believes it could be this story about this marshal. So he wants to steal the book, or maybe he's stolen the book, to identify if it is the marshal, and probably maybe there's something in the book that relates to counting treasure. So, he's a smuggler, he's looking for treasure, so that's why he's stealing the book. Captain Zendros, on the other hand, he's looking for the statue of St. Cuthbert, which is from the marshal, and he's intending to defile this as a gift to Uz, which is the god she worships. So she's discovered that this book has been in the library, and so she steals the book. She could be the alternative. She steals the book to locate the wreck, and then she wants to retrieve, and she might even hire the party to try to retrieve this statue for her. She stole the book, so she knows where it's located at. The third possible culprit is Keledek the Unspoken. Now, he has learned about this staff of power that was hidden aboard the Marshal on the ship that sunk. He discovered the book, the wreck of the Marshal. He had stolen it. He'd used some summoning magic to retrieve the staff in secret. And when he stole it, he angered this giant dragon turtle that was protecting that area. And now this giant dragon turtle blames Saltmarsh and is extorting the fishermen in retaliation. Doesn't know who stole it. So you can open this up. The players have to find the staff or deal with the dragon turtle. That's a high-level adventure. And fourth person that could have stolen it is Jander Cauldron. Now, he's a visiting priest staying at the Temple of Procon. In truth, he's a secret member of the cult of Vecna, and he's a sworn enemy of St. Cuthbert. And he's searching for a missing ceremonial dagger believed to be lost aboard the Marshal. So he's stealing the book to find out the location of this dagger, because this dagger can be used to twist the souls of the faithful, of the undead. And so he's looking for this dagger, which is sunk on the Marshal. So all 4 of these people are looking for the book. Only one of them has stolen the book, and that's up to you to decide which one. And I have the adventure ties in here. So these adventures, which are, there's 4 listed adventures on the wreck of the Marshal. I have all 4 of them listed here. And who, depending on which one you want to run, which one had stolen the book. Now, I put some clues together, and my thought on the clues here is each person has 3 clues. And the way I would probably run this is I would select 1 clue from each of the possible suspects, and the one that actually took it, I'd use all 3 clues. So there's 3 clues with the person that actually stole it will be left so the people can find it. But there'll be one clue for each other one, because you want the players to investigate. You don't want them just to find the one person. You want them to engage with these other people and find out, because they still have motives for taking the book, but did they take the book? So Galen Primewater, there's a torn receipt in the library. It's repairs for one of his skiffs, hull damage near Raven Rock. He's probably ripped and just was found there. The library smells faintly also of Kingfisher's Green, which is a very expensive pipe tobacco. Only a few people in town smoke it. Prime Water's one of them. And then Scaran Wave Chaser has some gossip that kind of implicates Prime Water. Captain Zandros, she wears unusual jewelry. If you read about her, she wears this gold jewelry that has these sinister, dark engravings. If there's a piece of this jewelry there, if the players do a religious check, they'll realize that this is an infernal alliance here, and they can tie it to her. There's salt residue on the display case, and we know that she's packing all the fish with salt because she's shipping fish out, so it ties her to that. There's been some inquiries from the Quartermaster's Guild, her guild, about religious objects lost at sea. So those are her 3 clues. The Unspoken, the red silk thread found in the cabinet. He wears a red silk turban, so you can tie that to Kaladek, the Unspoken. There's a faint arcane markings on the floor. If you do an Arcana check, it reveals that somebody had done a summoning circle and tried to erase the remnants there. If you have a passive, if you use Detect Magic, it might show that there's still some conjugation energy lingering there. Eyewitness report saw a very, very tall figure nearby, and we know that he's close to 7 feet. So he's probably the tallest person in all of town. So those are the clues for him. Jander, who's this priest, he's come to visit. He was kind of weird, inquisitive. So Benedict recalls this visit by him. He left a prayer book in the back. A religion check reveals some strange altered verses in there, perhaps Vecna doctrine secretly hidden in the Procon prayer book. And then there's some dockside gossip that he's wanted to go pray out at sea in this some weird location there near Raven Rocks in there. So these are the clues that you can weave in there so the players can start their investigation. But one of them was going to actually have 3 clues. And I wanted to put these in here so you have some ideas on how to lead the parties with these clues so they can find out who the culprit is. Now, there's the key NPCs. Obviously, Benedict, what he believes, or some interactions with him and what he wants. I also have Eliander Fireborn in here, his beliefs on who took it or if it was an inside job, his interactions with the party and what he desires. And then Scaran Wave Chaser. I would definitely have Scaran Wave Chaser in here because he's trying to sow chaos in here, right? He's going to say something about each one of the suspects, right? And so he's trying to obviously his whole motive is to sow as much chaos as possible. If he can weaken the town council and get Anders put in power there, that's his mission, right? Is of the Scarlet Brotherhood is to weave chaos and put his people into power. So I have the 3 NPCs that you should probably have the players interact with at some point, some clues, some of their beliefs and interactions and what they want. Now let's talk about the faction perspectives here. Obviously, the traditionalists, if they find out the tomb is missing, they're going to be concerned, right? They want to use the tomb to discredit Eliander, framing it as a failure. If he can't even guard his own stuff, why is he even in power? They're going to be how they're going to respond to the party. The loyalists want to keep this quiet. Obviously, someone's broken into Eliander's home. It's quite embarrassing. They need to keep this quiet. The Scarlet Brotherhood's already aware, because Scaran's already aware that this book's been stolen. Probably Benedict's told him at some point. Scaran's probably trying to help him out. Benedict actually thinks Scaran knows something. He's going to tell the party, he's like, you should probably go talk to Scaran. He always knows something more than, he leads on. So he probably has some idea. And then the whole Sea Princess, if they learn about this book, they're going to want it, because who knows what's buried on it. We know that there's rumors of some treasure on there. There's some cursed dagger on there. There's the statue on there, some rare statue. There's some other things on there as well. So, or you could put your own kind of treasure on there. But we've got a location. We've got the story about the wreck, where it wrecked, and some people that want to find it. Now, the future hooks here, these are the actual adventures in the back of the book on page 220 through 222. So Vecna's Twist. If you're going to do the Vecna's Cult, that's a level 5, suggested level 5 adventure at the Wreck of the Marshal. That's where Jander's searching for the dagger. If you use the Marrow Mayhem, that's a level 7 adventure. That's where Galen Primewater wants to find out if there's any treasure in there, and you run into the Marrow. The Golem Diver is actually a pretty high level. That's a level 11 out there. That's when you're searching for the statue out there for the captain. And last but not least, it's actually a level 15 adventure, as you had the Dragon Turtle out there, this huge Dragon Turtle. So if you want to run a high level adventure, they have the Wreck of the Marshal with a high level adventure in there as well. So if you want to use this open-ended quest to introduce the Wreck of the Marshal as an adventure location, either now or in the future, remember, nothing's linear. So the players are going to have this. They might have this book. They might have the chart. They might have the knowledge. And later on, you might want to reintroduce that Wreck of the Marshal. But it leaves that whole thing open there. I really enjoyed putting this one together. We've got the great book, The Wreck of the Marshal. This is available for PDF. You can download it. We have it built in Foundry here. We've got the letter of recommendation as well from the captain, and then the other player handout is this map here, which is really nice for the players to have. I hope you enjoyed this. I really look forward to bringing you more content for Legends of Saltmarsh. Again, all of this content is available for free. I'll put links down below. And if you like this in Foundry, if you want to become a donating member, you get all this content and more, all the Legends of Barovia and some other bonus content as well by becoming a donating member. There's a link in the description down below. Special thank you for DM Andy putting this together. If you like these battle maps, check them out on his Patreon page. They're beautiful battle maps. And last but not least, a huge shout out and thank you to my legendary supporters.